here we are, everybody. Another CBC podcast. Now, this time, right off the top, I'm not going to forget to mention that if you want the podcast feed, go to the description down below. There's the links. Follow the new feed that'll take you to Spotify. Eventually, that's going to just merge, probably, or it'll just be that one in a couple months. I'm not sure. When the details are worked out, I'll be able to tell you guys. But also, I got to bring up the fact that we are having two members' videos this week. We're going to talk about Henry Cavill's MCU role, the confusion surrounding it, and the possible reveal of it. And also, Daredevil Born Again adding the ultimate trigger to the show. There will be 4 transgender characters in this show. And yes, they will be played by transgender people. Surprise. So we'll talk about that for members. You could probably figure out why we're not going to talk about that on the normal topics. Because the internet, right? So there you go. It's going to be some good topics. We're going to dive into those. But for the main show today, I'll talk about some canceled stuff, more canceled stuff, another canceled thing, somebody being fired. It's going to be a whole lot of talking about canceled things. And to join me in talking about, well, I guess all these canceled things are, of course, as always, Mitch.
Hey, tell you what's not cancelled is Reboot.
That is true. That is true. Damn game, stupid card game.
Yeah, I've got nothing apart from social links on the screen in description.
Fair enough. Hey, maybe Tristan, maybe you got something else to show.
Not really. While like Mitch is like trying to save the timeline, I'm trying to do kick flips. Oh yeah, I also ordered myself some war crime juice from G Fuel.
War crime juice.
I was gonna say is Helldivers making something, but I just clicked like.
Maybe.
I was gonna say, what did you order? The 4th of July version? What is this?
You never know. Other than that, just some link. You can get my stuff from Linktree because all the stuff I would want to say, some of them are topics. So
there you go. So again, check all those out.
You drink topics?
No, some of them are topics, so I can't really talk about that until we get to them.
Exactly, because we're going to talk about some canceled stuff in the Vigia games, which I guess we're going to get to. So I don't think we have anything else here for housekeeping that we could talk about.
Yeah, just it's spring is coming. Things are starting to warm up. Con season is going to be in full swing, so get your deodorants, people.
Tristan is desperately fighting a losing battle in that one.
Tristan, I don't know what you think I can afford here. Look, I need to spend $280 on a half-naked Tifa over a $2 deodorant, okay? I got priorities, sir.
Why am I getting called out here? I'm getting physically attacked.
I'm getting called out here. What?
It's just because I really don't get it at this point because because it's kind of sad to where people have gotten to tell basically beg people where it's like it's not that hard to get deodorant or even just wash yourself because people you're not 8 years old, your sweat will start to smell. And
I mean, in fairness, not defending the great unwashed, but if like what Armin said before this show started about asbestos and lead being in the water, would you want to shower?
Find a way.
Quick way to
find a way. Find a way. It's just because normally from what I've learned, because my dad goes to all these cons and stuff, and even he, when I was younger, would tell me, make sure you're clean, wash yourself, you don't want to be stinking. And normally it's the rule is if you're going to any convention or get together, be it a card show or actual entertainment, watching a wrestling match or something, if you're gonna go for more than one day, and you think, well, I'm just gonna pack two pairs of clothes, pack for 4, because halfway through the day, if you guys are gonna go out, that clothing that you wore is probably gonna have some sweat and probably stinks, so you're gonna have to go back and wash yourself and get clean again. And
it's like you say, you gotta keep your hygiene, right? Especially if you're gonna wear cosplay, which you're gonna sweat in, and then you got clothes underneath that, and you take it off, you're like, bro, that's drenched. Get out of that,
So because you're not at the age to where where I've seen it where people will, say, "Oh, I just barely wore this," and they'll try and do the sniff test. More often than not, it's gonna smell like sweat and ass. So yeah,
Mike,
Yeah.
the great question is though, if everyone stinks, does anyone stink?
well, if you smell it,
If you
it's
blend in,
just technically you'll blend in, but you can smell yourself, man. You can smell yourself.
I like
Well, what if you're so stanky you can't smell yourself? You can go nose blind, but that is
You
the
like-
thing.
you like seared your senses. So you smell so
Yeah.
bad now you can't. I
What if
mean,
you're like me and you haven't got a sense of smell?
Oh.
well, it's kind of like, yeah, it's a thing. So, like Tristan said, that's a good PSA for the spring and summer as con seasons are swinging. Please wash, spray yourself down with something.
Yeah, it's just it's like me personally, I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. It's just you don't want to you don't want to be singled out as that person.
As somebody who
Fighting a
done
losing battle right
look,
there.
as somebody who does a ton of comic conventions and shows, I am being mean. Wash yourself because you smell. All right. The worst thing I ever went to was a WWE SmackDown show like a handful of years ago, and I didn't trust.
I mean, that
when
just
people
sounds stinky.
Yes, and I didn't believe that when people said, "No, WWE wrestling fans are the smelliest," and there was this dude, he just bought the $1,600 replica from the little, shop there, and he was walking around prancing it. When he lifted his arms to hold up the title for a picture, you literally saw people turn away. That's how bad he smelled. We were like, "Oh!" I smelled him like 30 feet away. It was it was bad.
Like, did he have the pit stains?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
all of it.
Oh,
And like,
yeah.
bro, somebody was legit like, he couldn't buy a $3 deodorant, but he just spent like with tax $1,800 on a replica title. Priorities, man.
Yeah, you can't afford a deodorant, right? No.
Yeah. So
cut man some slack.
so don't get smelly, people. That's what we're saying. That's
All this
what we're
targeted
saying.
harassment to the unclean. No, I won't stand
It's
for it.
true. But now that we're done the intro, let's just get into our first piece of depressing news. And kicking off this podcast of depression is the reveal with trailers and gameplay of Spider-Man: The Great Web, which would have been Insomniac's next game, bridging, between like, I guess it was supposed to come out between Venom and Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man 2. So
let's
see,
put that in
would it
quotations,
have been
so.
between Venom and that? Because Venom's like years away.
Oh,
still.
true. So I guess it would have been
This
between
thing
this
looks
and Venom.
finished.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like 80% done. Like, this is nuts.
From where they got it, it's around like 70 to 85% because most of it is reused assets from the first one and the second one. And
I mean, the second one's reused assets as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how do we know that? People revealed that the Gwen in that trailer was just a flipped asset of Miles's 2099 suit and Spider-Punk's jacket thrown on top of it.
Yep. I mean, you can see it, and like the thing with this is, if you look at how finished it looks and the fluidity and how there are differences in terms of style, combat, and what's going on, and clearly, like the game looks like it's lesser fidelity because obviously you're pushing multiplayer and everything, right? You gotta balance that
It's
out.
also a leak, right? It's not a proper release trailer. It's
Exactly.
always going to look
Like,
a bit weird.
If you watch that, something tells me that this was probably meant to release in tandem with the next Spider-Verse film with Beyond the Spider-Verse. And like,
Yeah,
when that shifted and pivoted hard and they were looking at their, units and what they could do, they were just like, this is gonna not push through. But it doesn't make sense because remember a couple years ago, Sony said, hey, by the end of 2025, we're going to have 10 games as a service, many based on popular IP. This tells me this was one of those set to release by 2025. So,
But I think it was like 10. And after a lot of their first party studios finally understood that we're probably going to have to become that a multiplayer studio game, and they didn't want to, gamble on it because they didn't want to tank their their studio for it. So
yeah.
And like you can see with this, but in particular, where people found out that I think it was basically Peter or Spider-Man and Peter and Venom. They had a lot more lines, but they didn't know where they ended up.
I mean,
it seems like this was most of it.
remember how Tony Todd said they only use like 20 to 25% of
Yeah.
his dialogue? And I'm like, wait, hold up. We now know there's a leaked Venom game and this where Venom was prominent. It
Mhm.
makes me think that he maybe got confused and he recorded lines for other projects. He just didn't really understand the size and scope of it.
Yeah.
Because clearly, if you look at this game,
Mhm.
I mean, if you were to tell me that this was a free DLC like add-on mode for multiplayer like they did for uh Ghost of Tsushima, for example, I
Yeah.
would believe you. I'd be like, oh yeah, free DLC. Yeah, this
Huh.
is it. Like maybe they should release it as a free DLC. Like
Well,
honestly, it
maybe
looks pretty complete.
maybe they may do it because with the leaks, they did show that there is, I think, like 2 or 3 DLC expansions that are coming, and one of them was Spider-Verse related. So
Mhm.
they could do something with it. Um,
So maybe
part of
that's all it is. It's actually just an expansion for the second game. It's
I mean,
not a
maybe that's
full.
why they right
well,
because
it
they
may,
haven't commented about it yet, and they
well,
commented
Yeah.
about the other leaks.
they,
So
they didn't comment it, but there's some other stuff that they did look into that apparently there was going to be a battle pass. There's going to be a free track version and a paid version.
Oh,
But
oh.
for the battle pass, they are non-expiring, so you could complete them at your leisure.
mm,
The
Um,
good kind of battle pass.
yeah, and what was interesting to me is during the time of those leaks is that you'd have 5 different types of spider people that you could actually choose from. So there was different play styles that you could potentially have from what they showed. And unfortunately, if you do look for it, they're just placeholders, so they weren't really like
mhm.
that far along with the graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, it's
I
just
mean,
kind of
at
like
the end of the day, I'm fine. I'm fine with this not seeing the light of day. I don't think the world needed a even more reason to trash on Spider-Man games than it already has.
No, they were gonna do that anyway. So
Exactly. So like, without it now, at least it spared us that. Like people can just moan about it for a day and then move on with their lives.
So why can't my obscure Spider-Man be a play style instead of Silk?
and like a part of me understands like why this was greenlit too. Like you think about how popular Spider-Man is, all the different
Yeah,
spider
yeah.
people, all the content they're making. Like imagine a couple years from now, we're getting Spider-Man 4 in the MCU or Spider-Man 5, and suddenly this game could sync it up, tie an event to it or something and align things up. Like I get it. And I get why they also would have fear against it, being like, well, Avengers didn't work and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League doesn't work. It's like, yes, but those games, uh, and this is not an insult to the developers, but Insomniac is in many ways ahead of many of these superhero
Well,
developers, especially now.
this is the thing, right? It's not a case of if one developer's better than another, right? Like it's is the studio equipped to make a live service game? If Bungie has
Exactly.
taught anyone anything, which it doesn't look like they have,
Yeah.
somehow over the last like X amount of years since Destiny's come out, you need to be completely pivoted to a live
Mhm.
service game. You can't be making a single player game and then
No.
shift to a live service game. I know Bungie's
Yeah, 'cause
trying to kind of do that
because it's
now.
Yeah.
ongoing. Like you have to have like let's say 50 people working on it at all time,
At
24/7, making and
least.
managing. Like, yeah, it's a
At
I mean,
least.
it's a constant cost, like it's not like you
Yeah.
produce it and it's out
No.
there.
Yeah, because like I think people or basic consumer forgets is that you can't just make content on a whim. You have to have
Right.
it planned out for the next year or two, or else you're going to end up like some of the other live service games like Multiverses, where they said that they're going to do this. They have like a season 1 and a season 2 that dries up because they have nothing else because they can't work fast enough to make more content.
Exactly. Or like Anthem, you come out half baked and then you try and redo it, and the studio has no faith in it, so they just cancel it, and then Anthem's now just sitting there dusting.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, we had a base, but they said they weren't going to spend any more money, so never mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Sony was going to learn very quickly because obviously they wanted all their big exclusive studios to have a live service game. Like, this is a horrendous idea. It's going to absolutely tank your entire ecosystem.
I mean, I feel like we go through this scenario with all these companies every couple years. Like, remember when the not the Game Pass or but what was it, like DLC pass or something back in
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
20, it was like
Yeah,
buy Dead
yeah.
Space, but you need this code to unlock this mode. Everybody
Yeah.
jumped on it, and then it tanked the game so hard. It was like, well, we got to pivot back. It's like, how about just, I don't know, making a game
In
that's
fairness, that
feature
was the
complete?
least of Dead Space 3's problems.
Yeah, true, true.
The microtransactions to buy resources was the
Yeah.
the yikes
When you
moment.
when you actually didn't really need to buy them, because
Exactly.
I still remember the OP weapon when you could potentially unlock, which is double rocket launchers, where you didn't have to be afraid of anything. You just light the whole place up.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy. The game industry will keep learning. I will say, out of all the games as a service games I've ever seen, Spider-Man probably excites me the most, and I want it, but it's also because I'm a Spider-Man fanboy, so there's probably something there. So,
I think we'd be all better off. The franchise would be better off if this is a single player. And I said it, we talked about it before. Take what Square Enix has done with Rebirth with the party and just make it single player. You
Yes.
can have
Yep.
they're all following you around. If you swing around, they're swinging behind you.
Yeah.
You can change your party on the fly at any
And then
given
just
time.
right,
Make
and
it
allow
better.
your friend, if they have a game, to jump into your world, but don't make it like, the same thing. Like, I think that could work. It's
Yeah.
Hey, hey, listeners. Mitch says that, but when I told him about the spider cycle, he lost it.
I mean, hey, what's the point?
Yeah,
That's
apparently.
like giving this Peter mechanical arms after he's busted as hell in
Yeah.
the first game. Like, you don't need to do anything. He's already a god at the minute.
Yeah, for people who
Now
don't know,
he's half symbiote alien. Now, what's the point in a bike?
yeah,
He's
for
already
people-
quick as damn hell. What's the bike gonna do? Slow him down?
I don't know.
Does
It's
it
like for people who don't know, in the multiplayer game, they were messing around with giving the player a motorcycle or spider cycle that allowed you to web swing with it. So potentially,
Yeah.
you could be driving on
Well,
ceilings and walls and
I
such.
remember there was like an old 90s Superman cartoon for action figures, and the kid in the commercials like, and get Superman's car so he can get to where he needs to fast. I'm like, he's Superman.
Every
car
single
slows him down.
superhero toy had that. Like the
It's-
spider car. And
Yeah.
Oh, God.
the 90s, man. You could stick any hero in a car and on a motorcycle. It's like, yeah, this makes sense.
So we need merchandise. What can we do?
Superman
Does it
needs a
make sense or
Lambo.
not?
Hey,
I mean,
Clark,
everyone needs a
why is the
Lamborghini.
it's hey Clark, why is Superman's Lambo parked outside? What do you mean?
Oh.
I don't know what you're talking about. Let me just go to the bathroom, quickly disappear. The car disappears, then I come back going, oh, it's gone. Can't be me. Oh. See, when you get older, you realize how dumb these superhero things can get. You're just like, it's fun. It's fun times. Well, I suppose we're just going to get on to the next topic. So let's talk about. Okay, so before we get to the next topic, let me just plug something CBC, which I'm told I should do more often, but I don't. So in this plug, let's advertise the CBC members section, where of course every week we have additional topics to all of our members that give us a few bucks a month. There's also early videos, and of course unfiltered content, because we're not forced to monetize anything on there and the overlords aren't looking down upon what we say. So if you would like to support us just a little bit more, check out the members section, get some additional bonus content, and a cool little icon next to your name. I guess that's a little bonus too. Now with the plug out of the way, let's get back to the show. Ryan Gosling has apparently accepted a role in the MCU. Seen a lot more buzz about this, but nobody knows what it is. There's theories. Of course, there's theories. We don't know what it is. Who would you want him to play? Let's start there, I guess. Mitch?
I'll give you two answers, right? I'm praying for Sentry. I fear it's Ghost Rider.
Okay. I'm the same as you. That's literally my feeling too. That's the exact thing.
Yeah, I thought he was just gonna be Sentry, but now if he's Ghost Rider, I don't know if I want it.
I mean,
that's the great fear.
I think he proved, what was that movie, Drive? I think it was.
Drive,
He could do a silent character, and let's be real. Johnny Blaze is so boring that if they were to just let Ryan Gosling act with his, body, eyes, and expressions, he could do it. He could make me interested in that character. But
you mean the thing that's going to be CGI'd out because his head's on fire?
Exactly. Then I'm like, wait, he can't do that while he's actually on fire. Unless Ryan Gosling wants to start being like, okay, I wear the suit, set me on fire for 30 seconds. I stand here and I emote, and then put me out. But that's for stuntmen to do. So
So that's just the Fall Guy, right? He's done that
true,
movie.
true. I'm excited to see that. So
Apparently, it's really good.
I hope so. I hope so when I get to it. So I don't know. It feels like we've been hearing about Ryan and the MCU since at least 2014, 2015. Like it's
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they've wanted him for that long.
yeah. He probably missed out on a couple roles that honestly he's probably thankful for missing out on. I'm gonna guess. I remember there was a rumor that he was in the running to play Black Knight. So
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
yeah, and that one to Kit, who has not been seen since. Uh, hmm.
Hey, he's done some British shows.
Has he? Well, okay, that explains
Yeah.
it. They're not over here in the United States because they're not patriotic enough.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
I mean, he's English, so
that makes sense.
yeah.
Is there any other characters? Like I've heard people speculate. Okay, he's not Doctor Doom, or I pray to God he's not. I don't think that's a good role for him. Like it's kind of a
No,
waste.
because he's horrifically white, so
Yeah,
very bad role for Doctor Doom. Or casting for Doctor Doom, not role. Just like a certain someone else we're going to talk about later on.
So okay, what else do we have here?
I outside of Sentry, I honestly have no idea. But I think Sentry makes the most sense. You lost Stephen Ewan, and now you have no Bob. You need a Bob,
apparently
right?
there might be that other actor who is Sentry that they've been talking about, but the actor never confirmed it, so we don't know.
What's the other actor?
I can't remember his name. It was somebody I barely ever heard of. So yeah. I think it was somebody else that was kind of like in that tier of, yeah, I've seen this guy before. I don't know who. I honestly don't know who else for Ryan. I mean, he could play Richard Rider. He could play Nova.
He would be a very good Nova, yeah.
Yeah.
But then when's we haven't even got an announcement of anything Nova yet, so
True. Maybe Nova will become one of those things where it's like Black Widow. They shoot it, and then Feige just stands on stage smirking, being like, "I don't know what you're talking about." What
like standing in front of a set picture? Like,
yeah, literally.
I have no idea what this movie is.
Yes, I don't know what you're talking about. We're always shooting a couple projects. Which one are you referencing? The one with Taskmaster shooting Black Widow on the streets of Budapest? That one?
See, here's the thing. Here's the 4D chess that Feige's been playing with leaks and set photos, right? He can now just go look at, just show everyone the Deadpool 3 leaks and be like, see these fake ones that you all believed? That's what this is.
True. That's true.
Like, yes, I'm on set right there, and I was there that day, but this is fake.
You see this glossy picture of Robert Downey Jr. that's clearly AI, but half you believe it because you're dumb and follow these pages that lie every day and you believe everything. Yeah, you're the idiots that are also going to believe me when I tell you no or yes or whatever I say. It's like, yup, okay.
Well, they're not going to believe anything he says.
That's true. That's true too.
And either way, they still don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be kind of crazy.
Like Sentry, Nova, Ghost Rider. If you shoot 1,000 years into the future and somehow preserve Ryan Gosling, then you could do Quasar, I suppose.
Yeah, you just
Quasar. Quasar. No, not that one.
No, yes, they're gonna get him as Quasar and gonna be like, okay, grow out your hair or wear this wig and just wear a loincloth the entire film. Also, you got to crouch down like you're primitive and to bring around.
I mean, that was basically his role in Ken in Barbie. Why did I call that movie Ken?
That's true. That's kind of true. So maybe I don't know. I think it's safe to say he's probably going to be in the MCU in the next couple years. It makes sense. He's still one of those.
Depends if it's a risky franchise, right?
Yeah.
Is there a woman in that franchise? Then sorry, it's risky.
Well, you know what? That's a good segue, I suppose. So let's get to it. Hey, Captain Marvel sequels, Eternals 2, not so fast, says Bob Iger, while looking at the finances and going, no, only popular characters or things that are reviewed well. That's what we're
Yeah.
doing. So
Because that makes sense in the world of having to make things.
yeah.
So get ready for a bunch of Spider-Man, Avengers, Captain America, and Thor.
Yep.
No, Thor's done after 5.
Well,
they're just gonna reboot it.
Probably.
I mean, they're just gonna make like what is it? Thor. It was Love and Thunder. They're just gonna make Love get the hammer, and she'll be old enough at that point. I was just like, and now you're Kid Thor. Here you go.
Oh.
Yeah. They'll find a way. They will find a way. I'm not in the favor of scrapping either of these sequels because
No.
despite me always coming on here and taking the piss out of Eternals, I still legitimately do not hate that movie. Like I find it has its problems, but
for me, it's just like I'm wondering like where does that put Shang-Chi? Because
I mean,
this is the thing, right?
Like it didn't fail, but yeah.
I'm saying it barely made more than Eternal, so what?
Yeah.
But Shang-Chi's a dude, right? So he's fine.
Yeah.
And also, like
this is because Iger hasn't come out and said this specifically. Yes, he said they quietly cancelled some movies, but these specific ones aren't coming from Iger. They're coming from Daniel RPK. Now,
and I've seen others now kind of hint at it, but none of the big trades yet. Which I think that when the trades report it, then it's 100%, right?
Exactly right. Like if the trades drop it while I'm saying this, then it's not my fault. This is a time capsule essentially of what happened at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if it is these two. But at the same time, I got the copium out. It's not done until it's done. I'm just taking the W that Eternals was getting a sequel. Well, everyone said it wasn't ever going to get one. So, you nerds can suck it. You two specifically.
What are you talking about? Ricardo's the champion.
What do you mean? What? Don't gaslight me, Tristan. Years. Torment. I got Ricardo to back me up, but if he's ever showing his face again.
Man. Ricardo has been. He's. See, if he was on here, he'd be talking about Eternals and all that, and then he would say something ridiculous that we would have to be like, wait, hold up.
He'd say it was racist, which is probably right to an extent, especially with the
yeah. He's extended Black History Month to just permanently.
Like for me, it's like with this technically and not fully out or not fully stated by the powers that be. I'm just like really curious. I haven't played at this point because he can make money, but it's like from what's been going on for the past couple of years, like technically for the studio, so it's like, would it be worth it?
I mean, I'm glad you bring that up because here's the facts. People talk about, Blade, big, they loved it, beloved franchise, it made so much money. The 3 Blade films combined didn't even make $500 million.
Yeah, but they did come out at a time when movies weren't making billions.
True. And also, like, I think if people are expecting that the Blade reboot is going to be a $500 million box office, I mean, there is a chance, but it is going to be tough for Blade, especially with a lot of the MCU bad crowd. The moment that they confirm that his daughter is in the film, that too, yes, it's going to look bad. I mean, I understand why you would want to focus on only the big franchises, right? But if Disney did that at the time they took over Marvel Studios, you would only have Iron Man, and that's it. You wouldn't have had any more Captain America. Like,
you wouldn't have even had Iron Man.
No. Yeah, they would have canceled everything. They would have been like, none of this. Like, it's what Bob Iger and them have hinted at is the opposite of what made the MCU succeed. And
exactly,
the revisionist history online, and you see it all the time. People now claim that everything phase 1 through 3 was perfect. I'm like, no, literally all of you hate Captain Marvel. You hated the first Doctor Strange. You were ready to hate Guardians.
Black Panther was split down the middle.
You hate both the Ant-Man films to death and said there was nothing original. Like, when did we move to this point now where that's become a thing where it's like Ant-Man, beloved character who was only ruined with the 3rd film? I'm like, really?
It's
that's
because
where we're at now?
play like social media and especially Twitter, because it's bigger on Twitter, right? There's this weird thing of you can't be seen. To be fair, it's just an evolution of it, of how it's always been in school. Like,
Uh-huh.
you can't be seen to be different. Different's bad. You have to
Yeah.
go with the crowd. But then you get to that crowd like ages 5 years, and then they remember that they haven't got to give a crap about what people think. So then they start acting or talking like, or even actually being what they really thought of the movie originally,
Mm-hmm.
and not trying to fit in. So then it's always good.
Yeah.
And then you get this flip flop of everything changes.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this, or even like you get the Star Wars prequels. The adults hated the prequels when they came out, but the kids grew up loving it.
Mm-hmm.
So you always get this opposing
Yeah.
argument going at the
And
same
now
time.
like the time between that is shortening. Like I saw recently somebody was talking about one of the more recent comic book films, and the title was like blank is good actually. And I was like, this film is only 4
Oh, you
years
get that
old.
everywhere.
Are,
Yeah.
are we actually at this point now where like 4 or 5 year old movie is in this category and people are nostalgic for a 4 year old movie? Come on. Like
Well, in fairness, what was 4 years ago? 2018.
true, because we missed a couple years, yeah. So
Yes. Well, thank you for actually getting the joke.
yes.
You were excited, and I was like, "How did they not get that?" But anyway, but yeah, we are in a bit of a time loop now. So 4 years ago does seem like a lifetime.
I mean, it does seem like just like 3 or 4 years ago, we were talking about the trailer for Infinity War, but as a matter of fact, it's like 6 years ago or something.
Yeah, it was.
Wild.
Because believe it or not, it's only just been 4 years since COVID hit.
It's wild. It's how time has gone by. So we're at this point where things are just playing out there you know, it is the way it's gonna go. I'm not all excited about not seeing Eternals 2 or Captain Marvel, but the good thing is those characters are not gonna be abandoned. They will be
Well,
back.
this is the question. If this is accurate, there's no more Ant-Man, there's no more Captain Marvel, there's no more Eternals. They're
Mhm.
only focusing on the safe bets, which I'd love to know how they think they have any safe bets going forward when their safest bets are currently dead in the universe.
Yeah.
Fascinating to me
That-
how they're going to work that one out.
Yeah.
And Guardians is kind of
Yeah,
no
I just-
longer the Guardians. They haven't got Drax and Gamora anymore. So
Yeah,
Right,
no,
right.
I just realized that means that the Young Avengers aren't going anywhere either.
Yeah.
Well, it's an Avengers franchise, right? That's always going to make money. They're gonna maybe they
You
just
sure?
they
You sure?
give it into that more and have that as the focus. Because after Phase 4 and we've had a Phase 5, where's the safe bet? Where's the focus in that?
Trying to think because
The way it's gone, where it's obvious that it's the more, if it's got more women in it, is Iger's wanting it out. If this is all accurate, because Ant-Man is co-led by 3 women to 2 guys. Eternals is more women to guys. Or the Marvels and Captain Marvel is more women to guys.
Well, that one's a little different because people like Kamala. So,
but according to box office numbers, they don't.
Yeah,
This is what they're looking at, right? Like, sure,
Yeah.
they might like her, but they didn't show up for the movie. Now, I know full well that movie had everything going against it, and Iger's being a bit of a twat with how he can't see that it's his fault that movie tanked right now. But I can't expect a white CEO to admit fault for anything.
Well, that is true.
Yeah, that is very true.
Thankfully you got a Fantastic Four, but is that a hit? I don't know. Has the Fantastic Four in a movie ever been a hit?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Do we rush the X-Men out now? Because that's the only way is going to be guaranteed to be a hit. Because it's the X-Men.
Maybe. Because with how they were, or how they're currently pivoting from Inhumans to mutants, seems like that's the plan, to replace Inhumans with mutants.
No.
Are you saying Inhumans on purpose, or is that accidental?
Hates us.
The trigger in me is like getting itchy. I need to know if I'm being attacked right now. So is this a second knife wound in the back? Like, what's going on right now?
Well, I suppose when announcements are made, like we're probably expecting a slight update, I would say within the next year, right? Because they gotta clear up.
I mean, they've got to scrap it at this point, right?
It's all blanks and or canceled things. So like we're gonna know soon enough what's happening. So
I say we're either gonna pivot to exactly how we were in phase 3, where everyone's complaining that it's safe, it's formulaic, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be a case of that's what they mean by no risks, and it's no more of this like genre bending. You know, you got one division out here doing its thing, and we're just going back to generic superhero movie, which is much to I guess discuss is going to cause a superhero fatigue because it was heading that way anyway. Even though we're kind of not here anyway, but yeah, or it just means it's only the dudes and. That gonna get a movie.
I think it's a little bit of both, but more so having more male-oriented movies.
It's going to be time to bring back Uncle Ike to run the studio to steer the ship.
I mean, we've already got that Pearl matter at this point, right? If this is legit, it's in time's a flat circle, people.
Hate it.
Yeah, it's a concept designed by the shadow government. That's what it needs to do.
Before we get back to the podcast and the topics, let me just quickly mention that our podcast feed, the old one that many of you were subbed to, is no longer active. If you would like to still get the podcast in audio form outside of YouTube, you can follow the link that is in our description, where it will take you to Spotify, where you can subscribe and or grab the RSS feed and then proceed to add it to your podcasting service of choice. So hopefully you've done that by now. If you haven't and are wondering when the audio will pop up, just go update the proper settings, or simply on Spotify, just search for the CBC and you should be able to find it with the appropriate logo. Anyways, let's get back to the show and whatever nonsense we might be talking about. There's another topic we got to talk about that also affects Marvel Studios, the X-Men and everything, and it's the X-Men 97. Right ahead of starting production on the 3rd season after from what we understand is a successful 2nd season after the literal great rave reviews for the first one, the creator of X-Men 97 was fired.
Yeah, and the reason was like a surprise to everyone, but it's like, you got fired because of that? Apparently it came out when he was basically taking his internet footprint and erasing it. What happened was like, people found out that he had an OnlyFans, and
apparently that was known before, and he never actually hid it.
Well,
I've seen two sides on this.
Yeah, like because from what I saw, it's like he never actually hid it. He just never really talked about it, but he had it. And what people assumed is that Disney did not like that, and that was part of the reason why they fired him.
But then if he had it before and you know it wasn't a thing he was hiding, then why'd it be that?
So, like the James Gunn situation, they knew about those old tweets and everything, you know, like
it's really weird because if it wasn't that, then what was it that was so bad that he had to basically delete everything about him on the internet?
Well, you see, we're no longer taking risks at Marvel Studios. And, you know, Peter Griffin, Family Guy, color chart meme right now. Just change okay and not okay to risk safe. There you go. That's
it's just weird because like I don't know what else it could be. If it's not that, then what was it?
Because on one hand, I can see if it is the OnlyFans, I get why they do it because it's Disney and Iger's a boomer that should be retired by now. But on the other hand, it's an OnlyFans. Who gives a crap?
Yeah, it's I
Yeah,
don't
Like it doesn't make sense, especially if you would have known like why. It's not like people came out and went, "Oh, look at his feet," right? Like there was nothing around it. It was just, "Oh, he's fired."
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it could just be that, or it could be something else. But then what is it? Because at this point, like most people didn't really care once they found out. It was just like, oh, okay. He was
But, I
just
mean,
trying to make some extra
It's a
money.
bit like a softer version of the Kate Middleton stuff at the minute.
Yeah.
mm,
Like you're being silent on stuff. Don't run and hide. Like give people a reason because you're just making it worse at this point.
Yeah.
But I suppose no one's owed a reason, but if he wants to
Yeah.
talk about it,
well,
he
it's
can
like
talk about it.
what I hate about this. It's like they could come out and just be like, "Yes, it's because of his OnlyFans and whatever, and this is what he did and that." And there is still a portion of the people that report on this that are literally saying the opposite thing. They're like, "He got fired because he made the series too woke." It's like that's not why he was fired.
Yes, famous X-Men. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
and also
The
like if
people that
you
just
just
fight giant robots and look cool. Yeah, cool.
it's yeah. Um, I I think this whole scenario is just it came out at a really bad time right ahead of the series. It puts like a stain on you, like but again, hopefully we learn a little bit more in regards to this because something will have to be said about it, I assume.
I mean, can we just
So
learn anything about it apart from that happened?
true,
No,
true, exactly. So
it's
yeah,
what?
I didn't want to like linger on this too long. We just want to address it. So with that in mind,
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
done with
I
this.
say it sucks for him, especially when
Yeah.
you've got to do 2 seasons.
Yep.
So now the 3rd season is going to be a big question mark of is it going to be as consistent with itself? But
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, until we know a reason why, it's kind of hard to.
It's just like a big question mark.
Exactly. Like
It's like
question
he's
mark is.
pixeled out something in a preview. It's kind of wild.
Well, I suppose that's that. And now our final topic of discussion here today is Venom's future. So this past week we
No.
officially learned that
No,
yeah. So
no.
when Venom 3 was announced, Tom Hardy put up a picture of the script and he called it The Last Dance. Turns out that was actually the title of the film, that it would just take like an extra year and a half to announce. So it's called Venom The Last
Let's
Dance.
not lie to people. Let's not lie. The movie was untitled at that time. He said it's The Last Dance because it's his last one. They had
True.
no clue what to call that movie. They called it that.
Yes.
They ran with it.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened. That's the level of creativity you can expect from the.
It's just like the
Venom movie
idiots
from
at
Sony.
Sony where they were like market testing the film, and out of all the possible titles for the sequel, like Maximum Carnage or anything like that, they called it Let There Be Carnage. It's the same thing. It's a dumb title, but
Why would you not call it
apparently
Lethal Protector?
anything, right? Anything else. And the thing with this one is now there's reports and there seems to be a belief that Sony's more or less pulling back on their stuff and they're just going to work
Can't
with
afford
Marvel
it.
Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
If Madam
just
Web's
be,
apparently losing $250,000, then or $250 million, I should say, not a million.
Yeah.
Then they can't afford to do crap.
So Venom is apparently going to be coming to the MCU, and then Sony just splits the money, and I mean, just think about it. If Sony was to let Marvel Studios use their characters that they're making films out of, right? Put them in Spider-Man films and MCU crossovers, and you get, let's say, even a 20% cut of whatever that character is in, you're going to make more money than all your standalone Spunk films combined because none of them have made money outside of Venom. So, they would win. It'd be free money for them. They don't have to do anything. Like,
also, it kind of confirms that these Spunk movies just cannibalizing the Spider-Man franchise, because if the whole was like, yeah, we're open to Venom because the Last Dance is it's the 3rd one, they're not doing anything after that, then that means surely that Marvel can't be using these characters while Sony's making movies of them.
Yeah.
Like, sure, Venom technically was in No Way Home, but it wasn't really.
It's just this is like, because this whole thing, because what it was is that they're saying that there's a possibility of Venom showing up in Secret Wars,
which was going to be. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, yeah.
And like people are now we're I guess guessing that they probably met during that announcement when Sony said that Sony Pictures were going to take over the physical media aspect to all of Disney's IPs and relegate which gets a physical release. And like if this did happen, that this probably came up at the table about having their
100%.
their spunk characters mingling with Marvel characters and such. So
everything that Sony gets from Disney is Disney wanting a bit more of Spider-Man.
Mhm.
They're slowly just clawing it back inch by inch. Whether Sony notices, we'll find out when they've lost it completely. But as right now, they're just slowly. It's like the Shawshank, right? They're chipping away at the wall with the spoon, trying to get into the tunnels.
It's kind of like if you look at the deals that they're making. I mean, Disney literally could have gone to other manufacturers and producers and people that print
literally
media.
any other one.
Anybody who does, I would argue, better, but they made a partnership with Sony to produce all upcoming Blu-rays and DVDs. And it's telling because they announced, hey, Falcon and Winter Soldier and Moon Knight are coming and more Star Wars shows, but you can't pre-order them yet. Why? Because Sony stock runs low and they can never meet demand. Like Disney, like you said, there is an angle here on both sides, and we can see the future. And make no mistake about it, people keep talking about, hey, if Sony's bought out or if they join another company or merge, guess what happens? Spider-Man relinquishes because it's not honored in a contract like that. Like Apple can't buy Sony and then own Spider-Man. That the contract is then void. So everybody's playing like a chess game that's moving super slow, but they're all just gonna.
Disney's on chess, Sony's on checkers. Let's be.
Sony's not on checkers. They're picking up the pieces off the floor and don't know what to do. Let's be real.
I thought you were going to say
Sony's on the Lego.
I was going to say they're playing tic-tac-toe.
Isn't that getting banned in the States?
I'm not entirely sure. But I did know what did get banned in certain states right now. The hub.
Yeah, they pulled out of Texas.
Well, not just Texas, a couple other states as well.
Oh, was it other ones as well? Wow.
Yeah, because people found out they actually people were looking into it to see if it was banned in their state, and a couple of them confirmed.
How are the right wingers going to watch their fanboy porn now? Oh man!
Yeah, so that's one way to entice the right.
Oh, it's
anyway. Sony, This is all it's all a ploy.
Which is like I'm just wondering what's going to happen. No, I know they're not going to do it anymore. It's just like, are they even going to promote Kraven at this point? Or are they just going to like let it go out into the wild and die a slow death?
Look, I assume after Madam Web losing 250 million, they can't afford the Kraven marketing. Either that they're saving it for Venom because, like, it's literally the last chance to actually make something back.
It is, and like they bumped the movie up to right before Halloween, which that will give it a little bit of a bump because there's always a surge right before Halloween to go watch films. But again, I'm confused at their strategy because they announced it's like, oh, we're gonna do we're starting a new Uncharted movie. It's like, yay! How about that Spider-Man? It's quite obvious they're gonna do the same thing they did last time. Uncharted is wrapping up. Tom Holland literally just jumps to the set next door and starts Spider-Man. That's clearly got to be their trajectory. So
still has the same haircut and everything.
Everything, yeah.
Maybe this time it'll be Uncharted. He looks more like Peter instead of the other way around.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Like whatever's happening with this whole Venom deal, it's gonna play out. He's in the MCU, and it's going to go one of two ways. Tom Hardy just becomes Eddie Brock stuck in this universe, and they do the wacky Tom Hardy antics in the MCU.
I bet you.
Exactly. Or he joins the MCU, loses the symbiote. It goes on to, I don't know, MCU's version of Eddie Brock. And then there you go. One of the two ways it's being handled. Nothing else, I don't think.
Yeah,
So.
it would literally be this Eddie Brock stays in the Spunk stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but where we establish the hive mind, like the multi-dimensional hive mind for these things, which is still
Yeah.
I completely forgot about it until just that second. The post credits going to be that little black glob going to find Eddie Brock, and it's just Tom Hardy again.
And like they could do like the thing where he gets hit with all the memories of that universe. He's like, whoa,
Yeah.
and done. Yeah. It's honestly kind of perfect way to do it, and why not? Like, so
Like
I'd be cool
maybe
with it.
make a slight change, like make him be the military guy. Like he's got no legs and whatever. but-
Exactly. Yeah. Like that'd be kind of cool. That'd be a really interesting angle on it. So I think,
Which means they won't do it because it's Sony, but that's
well, I mean, if they let Marvel Studios have a hand in the MCU, then smarter, just more intelligent ideas will prevail. I hope.
yeah.
And I say that, and
we've got a
Avi
few months
Arad
to
is,
find out.
yeah, Avi Arad's gonna show up being like, what if he doesn't have the spider logo? Because that doesn't make sense when he's connected to
Oh, you
Spider-Man.
mean like Insomniac's Venom or
Yeah.
Agent Venom?
Yeah. That suit was on point though, just missing the logo there for a bit. But
Even when he got a logo, is that what the hell is that?
yeah, that's
Was
true. That's
Or is
true.
this geometry wars in your chest? Like, god damn.
It was honeycombs because of the B missions.
Oh, true.
You know what? I legit never put that together.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well,
I still don't like it.
I suppose that's actually brought us to the end of this. So, man, it was a longer show than most of the other weeks. We actually had a full-on show, a lot of topics to talk about, which I hope is good. Getting close to the hour mark. Of course, for those that are looking for more, we're coming up with 2 more topics. And as we're recording this, the news has hit us, which we're going to talk about related to Cavill. So, hopefully we see you
has
guys
it?
there. Yep. And
Oh no.
catch
I'm
us
scared.
with the bonus topics and thoughts.
I'm scared.